Hello. We're here
Hello,
now.
we are here after
What the
some
hell?
minor technical difficulties, but it's all, we're here. We're good.
At least I get to listen back to it since this is all being recorded, which
Oh,
is definitely
100%.
not embarrassing and
You can
No,
only
show
not
your
at all.
hilarious.
children this.
Oh
Yeah,
It'll be
God.
awesome.
I
you
don't
can
have
mint
any,
it.
thank
You could
God.
you could mint it and just create like a digital archive of this moment right here, right now.
Bro, I swear, Mew, you sounded fucking crazy. I was dying.
Dog. All right, man. I don't even know. I don't even know like why Twitter is the way that Twitter is sometimes. But that was some fucking top tier content. My goodness. How you doing today, man? How's it going?
I am doing very well. Um, yeah, woke up incredibly early and got right to it, working on some art, working on some TL stuff. Decided to share a piece today. I'll actually pin that new one. I think I've figured out how to do this finally, or maybe not. Yep, here we go. I think this one. Um,
Oh yeah, I've seen this one. I like this one. I like that red.
Thank you, King. Yeah, that was a fun one I made when I was visiting Vinny in Baltimore. And I borrowed his like little crink ink thingy, like the little like it's almost like a little squeegee type of thing. Never used those before, but that was really fun.
Was it
Yeah,
like the
man.
paint markers kind of thing?
It's basically like a bottle of ink with like a little like soft kind of like squeegee spongy thing at the top that you could like you press it down and it lets out the ink, you know? So it's kind of like a paint pen, but
Oh, okay. I'm picking up what you put down.
yeah, it's like it's different but similar to a paint pen. So yeah, anyway, busy day. Went to the dentist. I had an eventful day for sure.
It sounds like it's been a busy and productive day, that's for sure.
Yeah, man. What about you guys? How you doing?
Uh, Doing pretty good. Just made dinner. Aside from that, I think after this I might head to the gym. But each day something new. I can't speak for Joe. Joe's probably just out being a frog.
Yeah. I've been like Burrito DAO stuff all day. It's pretty great. I got in a meeting with someone from Tribute. That was awesome.
What type of
What's tribute?
tribute?
Tribute's something that helps DAOs kind of manage themselves, just helps with operations in general, and also like has tools for voting on different proposals, stuff like that.
Oh, sweet. Okay. I think Elijah might have told me about that at some point. That
It,
sounds cool.
it definitely sounds like it'd be something up Elijah's or Squibs' for sure.
Word. Sick.
Um, yeah, so I think we're all friends here, but just in case somebody doesn't know, let's hear a little bit about you. Like who is Max?
Who is Max? That's a
Who
great.
is Max?
That's the lifelong question,
We're
right?
we're starting it off existential. It's up only from here too.
What even is life? Yeah, so I'm an artist and curator based in New York City. Right now, I'm particularly interested in painting and been experimenting with this symbol that I've been drawing a lot for the last like year or so called the Watcher. So that's kind of been of particular interest to me. And now I'm kind of entering a phase creatively of like playing with realism for the first time and some different techniques. Actually working on a piece right now. I'm really excited about. Hopefully it'll be finished by the end of the weekend. Been working on it for a little bit. It's a it's a physical painting that's based off of an AI prompt piece that I made like 6 months ago. And I've just been like wanting to do this for a really long time. And now it's like sort of the perfect moment to manifest it in a, yeah, in an acrylic painting. So yeah, doing a lot of art these days, which is great because I was in like a huge art block for a while, really like the first like 4 or 5 months of the year. And so feeling really in the groove there and working hard on a crypto art collective. I call it a crypto art super collective because there's just so many amazing artists in it. Called For the TL. Kind of
Shout out for
started,
the TL.
yeah. Kind of started like as a half joke of like the name that is sort of started as a half joke. It was the name of an exhibition that I curated in Miami last year around Art Basel at DecentralCon, and it was like 60 artists all who met through the TL, through NFTs and that sort of stuff. And yeah, kind of like blossomed from a very large show into a group chat, into what's now sort of a loose artist collective, and soon to be a little bit more of an official artist collective support system type of thing that we're like in the process right now of really building out and making more legit. So those are sort of the things that I'm doing, and curating, of course. So we just did a really great show at Zoratopia the week of NFT NYC. A few of the artists listening were in that show. I see a lot of friends too. What's up?
It's a friendly crowd.
Yeah, I love this crowd. So yeah, that's more or
It's,
less my spiel.
it sounds like you got a lot going on in your plate. We're gonna circle back to for the TL stuff just in a bit because I feel like I kind of want to pick your brain a little bit about that if that's cool.
Yeah, please.
But like just going back to like your kind of your career as an artist and everything. How long have you been creating art in any sort of capacity, like whether it's just doodles or something? Like, was this just something that you started like over the last couple of years, or you kind of been doing it your whole life, or?
Yeah, so I'd say like the genesis of my art making was more in graphic design when I was younger. My sort of hero, I would say, from like maybe 11 years old or so was Kanye, and I really like spent a lot of time in like online like Kanye communities, and I would make like these horrible like Photoshop fan album artworks like for albums that didn't exist, and like for like unreleased Kanye leak compilations and stuff like that. So I always kind of like had the creative bug, but I wasn't necessarily like painting or drawing so much outside of like a school setting. And then um, really like the impetus of sharing my art for the first time was about sharing it about 4 years ago, but like really creating art, I would say it was like 5 years ago. I was taking a screen printing class for college. I was also taking a graphic design class. I really just wanted to like make cool T-shirts at that point, so I took both of those classes. And for a final project, we had to design and print like hand screen print a poster, and that sort of like lit a fire for me to like do this really conceptual poster, and that spiraled like this large multimedia project, and really led to being my thesis for college. And I exhibited that work. It was like a mix of screen printed posters and paintings and like other objects and a short film, and like I DJ'd the opening, and like I just like did every medium that I could do to like sort of drive home the concept of that project, which was called Good Luck. And really after, that was exhibited in September of 2018, and then I spoke about that project. Sort of like one of the central themes of that project, aside from like being about like primary colors and iconography, a lot of it was like about my background growing up Jewish, and like particularly about anti-Semitism. So I was invited to speak about that project on a panel about art and anti-Semitism at the 92nd Street Y in Manhattan. And pretty much like from that point on, I was like very stuck creatively. I didn't really like know how to follow up something that was like that heavy, and I kind of like didn't know how to have fun making art at that point in my life. I really didn't learn how to have fun making art until like last year, I'd say. So yeah, like I did like some COVID paintings and like lockdown paintings, and that was sort of like around the time that I learned about NFTs and got really immersed as a fan and collector. And then like, yeah, just for the first time, I decided to sell my work as NFTs, and it was very encouraging and inspiring, even though like, my sales were like very modest at the beginning, and then sort of like quickly became like much bigger than I'd ever thought would like my art would go for, even though it's like still very modest. It's like, kind of shocking. And yeah, here I am like experimenting and growing, and I think actually getting good. A year ago, asked me if I thought my art was good. I might give you a different answer depending on the day of the week, but I actually like my art now. So
that's good. That's
good.
Huge. That's important.
Yeah.
You gotta like what you're making and everything, because otherwise it just feels like just a chore.
Yeah, exactly. And especially right now in this period, like I'm making work that um is very important and personal to me, but like also some of it is just fun and like some of
Mhm.
it is also like I think objectively kind of good. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know.
definitely. No, no,
It's a
you've
good
been putting
feeling.
out, you've been keeping. It was kind of cool to see, like you. I saw you taking a shot at like the realistic portraits and everything. I thought that was so cool because it's like so outside your style, you know. And it just
Thanks,
kind of
man.
made me happy just seeing like, oh, Max is trying new things. I like seeing that.
Thank you,
But
man. Thank you.
going back to a little bit, when you say you're creating, because I know you, as you said, you're creating like some of these like really personal pieces, and a while back you said you were creating like this like really existential heavy piece. Do you find like you have common themes behind your work, or is it just kind of sporadic, like what you're feeling at the moment?
I would say that a large majority of my work is kind of about similar things. A lot of it is sort of introspective or existential or you know, and I don't want to like define it too much because I think people find different things that they want to find in stuff, like not just art, but in whatever. So I don't want to like over define it. I think I sometimes explain my work too much, and I'm like doing my best to not do that anymore. Like even with the self portrait up there, like there's a lot of stuff I wanted to say about that piece, but I think it was just important to like let it speak for itself.
For sure. Like it's such a
So
fine line to walk between like over explaining and then just kind of losing because it's like you don't want to force the audience to find certain things, but you also want them to take away something personal, but it's just a little
right,
bit messy.
yeah, right. Like I think it's really important to provide context and like and maybe sharing things that you learned in the process or sharing like how you feel about it or whatever. But like yeah, I don't find it as important anymore to like explain stuff, and I think that's because I like actually feel confident in the work like fully for the first time like in this phase. But yeah, I think a lot of it is like sort of relatively common themes, and like this AI piece that I was referring to earlier is like so different from everything I've ever made. Like I'm kind of afraid. I'm not afraid to finish it. Like I'm actually excited to finish it, but there's a small part of me that's like a little afraid of even like posting it or like my mom seeing it because it's like very fucking weird and like different and honestly sort of erotic. And I mean, it was like the AI. It was like the AI result that I'm like referencing for the painting, and I'm like taking my own liberties with it and like changing some of the shapes and the colors and like but like essentially like yeah, it's kind of weird. So I don't know, like I'm excited though to be like moving in new directions, and like you're saying with the portraiture, like I was very inspired this year by Matisse. Like he was never really at the top of my list of favorite artists like in art history, but yeah, I've been so inspired by Matisse this year, and specifically his portraits, which are sort of underrated, I think, in his catalog.
I agree with you.
Yeah, and like I just
Absolutely.
love like I love that he only painted one hand, and like the colors were always like not realistic, and proportions and stuff were like not always very realistic, and I the funny thing is like he was so technically talented that he could like do perfect landscapes and perfect portraits, but he decided not to. And I think I'm coming at it from the other point of view where like I have very little technical ability. I'm like kind of like my ideas are like ahead of my like natural talent, I would say, and I'm like reverse engineering it. But I'm figuring out like how to have more fun with it. And I think like even though this portrait, the one that's pinned up there is like quite somber and honestly like came from a dark place, like it was fun to kind of step outside of my norm and like try to actually portray something relatively realistically. So yeah, man, I hope that answers the question to an extent.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I definitely get a little get more about like where you're coming from and everything. Just to follow up on that, like what is like the creating process look like for you? Like, do you just like sit down, you just, like study a couple things? Do you just like kind of like develop like an idea in your head, or just kind of let the colors and all that take over, just kind of see what happens?
Yeah, I'm figuring it out like as I go. I've shared this with a few friends recently who, we've been talking about process and like where we're at right now. I finally feel like I've figured out where I'm trying to take things or like how to approach these things more efficiently. So like, even between it's really great that these two pieces are pinned because they're really like good examples of what I'm saying. Like, so the red piece, Loud Places, the one that I posted today, that's up on Zora, by the way. 10 editions. There's 7 left.
Let's do one. Let's do one.
Little shill. I'm gonna the other one is also minted, but I haven't listed it yet. That's gonna be a one of one. But and even that distinction of like editions and one of ones, I think like you'll have a better understanding of my process through how I explain this. So like the red one, the drawing with like all the watchers on it, that was a very fun piece for me to make. Like I probably made this in an hour, couple hours. I had the idea for like doing a red background and like and doing a lot of primary colors and like complementary colors with the green and sort of that like it's almost like a grayish pinkish kind of thing and there's like a beige in there. I sort of had a concept for that piece and it like and that's the thing, like it is like a fun drawing that I was able to make relatively quickly, but like there was some concept to it, but it's like on a piece of paper. It was fun. Like I'm also like having fun making it in the moment than anything else, even with an idea, right? And then there's this self-portrait where like I sketched that picture of myself. Like I took a reference picture of myself. I sketched it like 3 times, maybe 4 times, like very detailed, and then brought it to a canvas, and then like spent so much time painting this, like legit, like probably like a whole weekend, and then like of consistently working on this, and then like continue going back to it, like continue like continuously painting the face over and like redoing everything and redoing it and like so many layers, like so many paint pens, some like more acrylic, more this, and then just like leaving it, like really abandoning the piece for like a month to go work on the piece that I showed at NFT NYC because that really like required a lot of attention. So like I think what I'm getting at is there's sort of a distinction now with my work that I'm creating between like more like casual, fun drawings and like lower stakes, sort of like watcher pieces, for lack of a better term, and then paintings and like larger scale works, usually on canvas, that I'm like spending a lot of time sketching and a lot of time like basically imagining what I want to see in the end, like to the T, and then making it over, you know, sometimes weeks or like a couple months. And I'm okay with that. Like it's frustrating to an extent, like to work on a piece for so long and to like go with such fine detail. Like this piece is 18 by 18 canvas, like 18 by 18 inches. So like it's not even that big. It's not even that big. It's like an album, like a vinyl album, like plus 6 inches on each side. So like it's not huge, and there's like so much detail in it and so many layers that like it was kind of a bitch. Like, and I working in that size range is like kind of more annoying than working bigger now. Like now that I've started to do like 20 by 20 or like or even like 18 by 24 or like there are a few bigger ones that I've started on, or like, you know, I've worked on a bit. So like yeah, that's sort of the distinction, and it's also how I'm like presenting and selling the work too. Like I'm definitely in the large group of artists that struggle like pricing their work and figuring out like what edition size and like when to put it out and all of that. So like I think I've finally figured out like a way to sort of like compartmentalize different things. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm picking up what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do you have like so like yeah, as you said, like right now you're just kind of you know having fun doing whatever. And actually, I think you brought up a good point about pieces that taking you like longer. I feel like this is just my personal opinion, but like once you like extend like how long it takes you instead of like giving yourself this like pseudo deadline to have stuff done, you can go back to it like a month down the road with fresh eyes. And as you said, like just like be able to see like, okay, these small details over here work. Okay, these other details that I thought worked a month ago don't really work now, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just giving yourself the time and space and like being able to walk away and like regiment it more, I think helps. Yeah, I think it's I learned to be more patient over time with stuff like that because I'm naturally a very impatient person. So
No, I
yeah,
feel that.
1,000%.
I feel that. Where do you wait over the next like couple of years and even just like you know on a longer time frame? Where would you like to see your art evolve into? Like, what would be like the kind of creative goal that you have for your work?
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
know
don't
it's a
know.
tough one.
I don't know. Like I do and I don't. I definitely want to continue to evolve this whole watcher symbol concept thing. Um, I really want to make more stuff sort of in the style that I was working in a bit last year with like these like large scale sheetrock pieces that were sort of meant to look these like city construction walls. So I'm really like trying to evolve that whole thing over time. Like I'll probably move from sheetrock to wood or some other like more permanent, sturdy medium to continue that style. So those things, I want to get better at painting. Like I think I'm getting better, and I'm excited by the development in real time. But like I want to get to a point where like these things don't take as long, and like I don't need to do such detailed sketches, and like I don't need to like rely on like tracing or like using a projector or like ever like doing like just being able to like eyeball things better because I'm like not the best at that. Um, Digital stuff, like there's so much digital stuff that like I want to get better at. I haven't really made a lot of digital work recently because I've just kind of like leaned into the things that are feeling right in the moment. Um, so like a whole lot of stuff, and like larger scale stuff. A whole lot of stuff. I never really until like last. I think it might have been the collaboration I did with Vinny. Like I had never really collaborated with people, like especially like not in the room. Like for a while, I was like so anxious to like draw and paint around other people, and now I'm so open to it and having so much fun with it. So I just want to keep doing that and like learning things from people and trying new things. So yeah, like all sorts of things to answer your question. Like there are lots of things, and I think as long as I continue to keep the balance between having fun and also like you know making stuff that I think is important, I think I'll be achieving those goals to some extent.
Oh, definitely. No, I respect that. I think you actually touched on kind of another point too. That's kind of interesting. It's just like the nerve wracking. Like at first, is just like when you're trying to like make art in front of other people, it's just like that immense pressure that it just kind of feels there, especially when you feel like your work isn't exactly where you want it to. But then you realize like like it's another cool thing about like the digital age too. Like we have like all of like some of the people in the audience or people on the TL that you can approach to and ask for like honest critiques or little like tips and tricks, and you like they're more than happy to supply it too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, like even like I was saying, like even just collaborating with people, I've learned more about like using acrylic mediums and like workflow stuff and like and even creating outside of because I didn't really have like a great studio setup for a while, and now I do like have space in my own place to create and like a dedicated space, and it's really just changed a lot for me. It's only like my second week of working in this space, and it's like it's so different than like being cramped into a room with like a lot of other stuff that isn't art stuff. And working with Squibs' apartment on a couple pieces, particularly the finishing the self portrait and doing the Friends piece, like the one that was in New York. Like being able to like go somewhere and like basically like clock in and clock out, for lack of a better term, like just like devote like I'm gonna go hard as fuck on this for like 4 hours and leave and like not have to look at it and come back like in a day or two and do it all over again. Like
Oh yeah.
that was like a big learning experience to just know when to step away. And like even now that I'm working in my apartment, like in a separate room, like I know now when I need to give it a break and when I need to just, like I could feel it when I'm starting to like fade a bit, like out of the flow.
Oh, for sure. It's important it's an important thing to learn when you got to step away versus like just putting in that extra 10 minutes or whatever. That 10 minutes you could fuck it up, but like I don't know.
Can't force the vibes.
Exactly. Couldn't
Yeah.
have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Right. So I said we are gonna circle back to for the TL, and I think it's about that time.
Woo! Let's do
Yeah,
it.
let's talk about it. So I know we have most of the same friends as we did when earlier when you explained it, but like could you just give like just for the people who don't know just a brief rundown of what for the TL is and kind of like what you guys are about.
Yeah, I mean, for the TL is really, like I was saying, a crypto art collective that's really all about uplifting artists, supporting artists, exhibiting crypto art. There's really an emphasis on crypto art, which gets lost, I think, a lot in the space, like with PFPs and, all sorts of other like hyped up shit. Not that I don't like or own some PFPs, but like, I think like the culture is really continuously pushed forward by artists and art first. So it was really important for me to just, if I can, to bring it more to the forefront and highlight it as much as possible. So that, the impetus of the group is really, it was that one exhibition in Miami, and it led to more opportunities. And the more stuff we were doing and the more opportunities that came up, it was like, okay, now is a good time to like, bring more value to the table. Like, we haven't taken money from any artists that have like sold pieces at our exhibitions, or like even the first Nifty Gateway drop that we did, like didn't take a cut. So, at a certain point, like to scale this and to make it, more impactful for more artists, and to like bring it to, bigger venues and bigger collectors and whatever, like we're going to have to, at some point, probably in the near future, like take a piece of things that we're involved in with the artists that are involved with us. And like, we're not going to do that until there's significant value on the table that we're bringing. So like, that we're very much in that phase now of like finding some of these things and figuring out like what artists want and need, and how we could provide those things and build on them, and keep things relatively inclusive, and while I think curation is really important, like I think opportunities are really important. So like, just figuring out like systems basically for how to maintain something like this that doesn't really exist like in the art world or in the crypto art world.
No.
And I, more than anything too, maybe not more than anything, but also very important. Like, I don't want anybody to see for the TL and like just think it's like a max thing, like it's very much about all of the artists, all of the members, all the contributors that make it possible, that make the shows possible, the companies that support us. So yeah, like, this phase is really about like making it more of a collective than anything else, and giving people the chance to contribute. Like, you've helped in a lot of ways, Mew, with like designing things, and I see Elijah's in here. He's done so much for everybody.
Shout out Elijah.
Big shouts, big ups. Noel is incredibly supportive of all of the artists in the group, like collecting from artists in the group and constantly retweeting people in the group, and now talking with us about helping us build a couple of things like that he's sort of, I would say an expert in, or at least like definitely more than myself. So I think it's like, yeah, it's just all about that community effort, that like it takes a village mentality. And, when we all come together with a common goal, I think it's really amazing the things that we can pull off. So we're doing that now. Like, we're really exercising that ideal. And well, time will tell, like, if we actually accomplish all these things, but I'm pretty confident we will, just with this sort of energy and this intention,
Oh, for sure. And like that's also like you said something that I always thought was like super admirable of you and everything that you're building is just like for the TL never seemed like a max ego thing. Like it was never that. It was always just you just trying to put on for people who otherwise wouldn't have gotten these opportunities. So I know a lot of the artists in here on the TL are very thankful for what you're building. And like I can't imagine how hard it is to build something like this because, as you said, it's not like it's been built before. Like every year, like you're just kind of trying to like make it up as you go, see what works and what doesn't. And if something doesn't work, dust yourself off and try again. But
Yeah.
even in like the short time like that for the TL has been around, I think you guys got some pretty clean accomplishments under your belt too.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's really, until this point, like really since NFT NYC, so like maybe the last 3 weeks or so, it's really been like we need to deal with today's problems. So like, the screens at the show aren't working, or like, we need placards at the last minute for the show that we're doing, or it's been like putting out fires basically, like on a passion project. And now it's like, okay, let's take this way more seriously and like try to build from the ground up, like something that is built to last and like something that we could build upon. And it's not just like constantly like what's the like what is happening right now, and like how do we get to the next thing. And yeah, there's a lot behind the scenes that like people don't see that like falls on me most of the time, and Elijah a lot of the time. Like some of those technical issues and dealing with, all sorts of people and problems at events, and
Oh man,
this, that, and the third.
I do not envy some of the stuff you got to deal with. I just remember, I think I was like texting you or something during like the
One of the
last show,
shows,
one of the shows, and
one of the shows, yeah.
King, you sounded like you were going through it. Like,
Yeah, it's like imagine like showing up and like people are like in the space and like nothing is working, and like yeah, you're like your Uber is in traffic
screen.
and like nobody, yeah, it's just like the whole shit. But yeah, man, I mean we do it to like to do it to the best of our abilities and like with a lot of care and respect to the artists. So like I will get very pissed off if, like things are not what they were expected to be or what have you. But yeah, I mean, and with all that said, like I appreciate you recognizing the intention that goes into this, and I think most reasonable people that aren't salty or jealous or like upset about one thing or the other recognize that. But like you're always gonna have people that talk shit about you or like
for sure.
just like don't get it or like don't really recognize what's happening. So
it's always gonna be some weirdos on some other shit. I like to believe most of everybody here and most of our peers and everything recognize the genuine intentions behind everything that you're building and everything that you've accomplished so far.
yeah, thank you, bro.
No problem. So like on like a bigger scale, on like a zoom out kind of perspective, like do you have like any sort of end goals for the TL, or like what is like one thing like you wanna look back like 3 years from now, just be like look back and be like, yo, really did that shit.
Well, one of the initial goals has always been to exhibit artists for the first time that haven't had an opportunity for something like being shown in a physical space. So that's like always a goal, and it's always really refreshing, and most times surprising that folks that we exhibit have never been exhibited before. So that's an ever-present goal. Helping artists make sales, like while it's not the primary goal all the time, like it's definitely fulfilling when like someone has a really meaningful sale, or makes a connection with someone that like could change the course of their career. So that sort of stuff. Yeah, I think like bigger picture goals. I think we'll have accomplished something meaningful if we truly succeed in building some level of like a self-sustaining artist ecosystem where there's a lot of support and value that the whole group can one another.
Yeah, for sure.
That's sort of like more bigger picture type of goal of like we're able to provide like a meaningful platform to a large group of artists. And yeah, just continuing to do like bigger and better shows, bigger and better productions, like starting to conceptualize what Art Basel will look like this year. And if we're able to like really pull off all these ideas, I think it's going to be really fucking cool. And honestly, kind of like I will be surprised in the best way if we're able to pull off some of these crazy ideas. And naturally with like budgets and time constraints and physical space and whatever, like sometimes you have to scale back your ideas and like compromise here and there. But I really do think that like if we're able to even get like one or two of these ideas off to some extent, it'll be sick. So doing things like that and collaborating with like bigger and better brands and marketplaces and all types of people. Like I wish I could talk more publicly about like some of the stuff we're working on. I don't really want to jinx it yet or like talk too much about it, but like like I think it's just exciting to like be building something that a group of people are excited about. And that's going to make me feel proud in 3 years is like if we're able to like keep the group together and continue to build amazing things and change lives.
Definitely. And I'm really excited to see like where you guys go with this, because it's definitely something special here.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. So like you're one of the few people in this space, that it's like the man of many hats. You're an artist, curator, builder, so on and so forth. What would you say like the most rewarding thing about being able to do all of these is, and like what's like the not the biggest drawback, but like the biggest God, I don't want to say complaint either because that just sounds bitchy.
Like challenge.
Challenge. There we go. Yeah,
Yeah.
challenge is the word. So.
I mean, it's rewarding on pretty much every level. Like I never imagined myself like fully committing to art and to this sort of stuff. So like having made the jump and to still, you know, have food on the table and not be homeless in New York City is very fulfilling.
in New York City too.
Yeah,
Like
where
that
everything is just crazy expensive here now.
you step
Like,
outside, that's $67 and change.
nah, literally, bro. Like, it's impossible. I went into Blick today to get one paintbrush, and I spent $20. You know, like it's just like,
Jesus.
yeah, like it's just yeah. So yeah, I think you know it's fulfilling on every level. Each medium, each sort of thing that I am lucky to do brings a different type of joy and a different type of fulfillment. And it's really, I mean, it is really tight that like some people actually like or care about my art. Like I never really expected that, or for it to like actually objectively be good. And I still have a ways to go, so like I don't want to sound too pompous or too confident about it. But like I actually really fuck with like where I'm heading, and a lot of people I respect do too, and like you know that's very flattering and like and encouraging to keep going. So I would say those are like positive things, and I guess like the drawbacks or the challenges are, you know, the most obvious one is time. Like there's never enough time in the day to do it all. Like today I had to pick between like painting for hours and like getting other stuff done and like going to the dentist and um like I'm expecting like basically like Sophie Sturdivant gifted me this amazing piece that she made, and like I got it custom framed, and I think they're supposed to be delivering it like now, and I have like all these missed calls, and like I don't know whether or not like I don't know whether or not it's being no, it's fine. Like this was like 40 minutes ago, so like they probably already left if that's what it was, but like being on sorry, I'm like choking on my own spit. Like being on Do Not Disturb to like be on the Twitter space like might have sacrificed me getting the like, you know what I mean? So it's constant like sacrifices that I'm not even aware of in the moment that are being made in order to be present doing one thing. And then it's like even in my personal life, like if I want to spend time like with my mom or like with a friend or with like whoever doing whatever for fun, like not necessarily like for art or for career or for money or for whatever, like or not for the TL, haha. It's like it's time spent away from all those other things that like I kind of need to be on top of because this is like a pivot for me to build things and like do whatever. So like, yeah, I think it's just like a time thing and you know choice paralysis and like for a long time staying inspired. Like that time that I at the beginning of the year that I was kind of referring to earlier, that I had pretty bad art block. I was degenning. Like I was flipping NFTs, feeling really anxious about money, and now like I don't really have the time or energy or like risk appetite to be flipping stuff. So I'm just putting it in the hands of the universe to like bring me paid opportunities for things every now and then, which is kind of like very hit or miss. And you know, luckily, I've been making some sales on my art, so like that has definitely helped. But yeah, man, it's like I feel very lucky, very blessed, but also like very stressed out and sort of you know, like I'm juggling a lot of different things, even though it doesn't. Some days don't even feel that busy, but then I like sit down at 11 o'clock or whatever, like 1 in the morning. I'm like, holy shit! Like I've been up for like for the last 48 hours. For the last 48 hours, I've been awake for like maybe 40 and or like 35 or whatever not normal amount. I can't do math right now. Like, and then like the painting is still not done, and I'm leaving for this trip on Monday, and like I really want it to be done so I could share it sometime in the near future. So it's that sort of shit, basically, to like answer your question in a really long way. It's just hard to like always know what I'm doing or like what I'm deciding, but it's like constant decision. I feel like
you're definitely right. Like it's so much give and take. Like I can only imagine what's half the stuff you have, but like if you combine like like you want to build something like that's going to outlast you and also help your peers. You want to establish yourself as an artist. You want to grow technically and proficiently as an artist, but you also want to take care of whatever you got to take care of day to day. Spend time with the people around you, and it's not enough hours in the day, it seems.
Yeah, and luckily most of my social life is art related now. Like most of my friends are like either people listening to this or like people that are literally like on or in the TL. And yeah, luckily, like I have, a really great support system now, and a lot of people like geographically not that far away. And I've been traveling a good amount, so that, it's been good to see the homies and stay inspired and stuff. But yeah, it's like, it's a lot, man. But it's good things. And I'm not like overly worried about the bear market, though. Like, it'd be nice to be making bigger sales, like for everybody. But yeah, I mean, fuck it, we ball, right? Like, just
Fuck it, we ball.
keep moving forward.
Gotta keep it pushing.
Yeah.
And like at the end of the day, like I think it's kind of a good perspective to have on it, because a couple years ago we wouldn't even be sitting here talking about selling JPEGs or anything. Too, you'd be trying to like get into like a local art show and maybe sell a piece for $50, if that.
Literally, dude. And also, like, I don't know. It's having like been through my ups and downs in life. Like, it's so easy to just give in to all the negative voices in your head and be depressed and like, essentially like make choices that lead to you being miserable. Or like you can take responsibility for your happiness to some extent, and like take responsibility for what you spend your time on, and like try to make something positive of it. Like, for all of the challenges and pitfalls of like this life and this lifestyle, like I'm getting so much more in return, like so much more, so much fulfillment from within, like, and from people that I really care about. So like, it doesn't really matter, like, if the one-on-one doesn't sell for like a year, or if like, this show doesn't work out, or like this person doesn't want to like get on a call with me, or like whatever, like you keep going.
Exactly. No, shout out to you for that. That's a really good way to kind of look at things. Because you never know what's around the corner, and if you're just constantly setting yourself up for success, like later down the road, the grind's not going to be easy, but Lord, it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the work hasn't even started yet, which is kind of like, I need at least a couple more years on this earth to like accomplish things. I really just need like at least 2 more years. Like I'm not saying that I'm like gonna die like anytime soon to my knowledge, but like it would really suck if I didn't have at least like 2 more years to see some of this shit through.
We gonna get another 40, 50. I swear to God.
I hope so. I need to take better care of myself, maybe. But no, I'm playing. I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. I need to like sleep. But
after we hop up this, I need you to drink a glass of water. That's
bro. I drank like half my Nalgene on this fucking Twitter space. I swear.
Yo, you got an Nalgene? I got an Nalgene. You just like me.
Yeah, bro. 32 ounces, baby. I just drank 16 of them. What's up?
Oh my God. There's nothing that makes me happy than hearing the homies are hydrated. Holy fuck, that was a couple more, and then we'll let you get back to it. Hopefully, get a little bit of time for yourself, and let all of these fine people head out about their day.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. So obviously, you kind of are really tapped in with the art scene, the NFT scene, crypto art in general, et cetera, et cetera. What would you feel like what is your opinion of the current scene right now? Because I know it's changed immensely from the Bitsky days to
God, yeah so different now, right?
Shout out Bitsky. Not kinda, but it's like everything's evolved and changed so fast. Like what is your kind of take on all of this?
I mean, it's a loaded question. No, you're good. Like, my take is that similar to what we just talked about, like on a more like kind of day-to-day life level, like you could look at it in a variety of ways. Like, there's a lot of negative shit going on. Like, there's a lot that you could get hung up on that's less than desirable if you're an artist or someone that deeply cares about art. But on the other hand, like, we still have this opportunity to have some level of independence and, do the things we want to do to some extent. So like, I don't know. I think like the role of the platform is very under question right now. I've spoken with, people pretty high up at platforms that are asking themselves those same questions. Like, I don't really know why we're giving any platforms 15%, but sometimes I guess you got to like do it to get in front of different collectors and, create.
Yeah, that's real.
So I think that's like a big thing. I think like, the kind of the rapid fall of most PFPs is kind of like something worth thinking about in the larger context of the whole scene, and like, you know, the artists that have stayed consistent with or without sales, or with or without like the same hype. I think like I still really think there's like a huge lack of good curation in the space, and that's why I really like stuck my chest out and like said it for what it is. And I really think I do good work on that front. I'm really proud of my work as a curator, and you know, I don't think many people are coming close, to be honest. Like I will very confidently talk my shit in that sense. Um,
No,
so
I
I don't know.
respect it.
Yeah, and you know, still I think like the IRL implementations and exhibitions are like super important for adoption and appreciation of crypto art. So like, yeah, I mean, I think there's just like so many things to unpack with your question, but you know, as a whole, I still feel optimistic. I still think that, you know, there's so much technology in general that needs to catch up over the next like 5, 10, 20 years to like really make blockchain more of like a day-to-day thing for the average person. And you know, for art to like continue to have like this overall bull run, like the art world as a whole, like, you know, not just people, but like, you know, fucking everything is so pumped up right now in art. And I really, yeah, I think we're arriving in this moment of like artists are kind of the new rock stars, and it's not all the way there yet, but there are like a few that are kind of leading that change and like and representing that. It's probably the first time since like, you know, Keith Haring and Basquiat and people like that are like really, and Warhol, like really icons of their time. Um, I think Web3 is birthing some of those icons, like whether it's Drift or Vinny or Danny Cole or, you know, like so many other amazing people. You know, so yeah, I think, you know, Diana St. Clair, can't forget about Diana. There's some really amazing artists that are like really breaking out into stardom, like through this whole thing. So yeah, it's in an interesting state. I'll leave it at that.
Very well said, King. No, it's no, I definitely agree with you. Like it's nice to see art being appreciated for what it is too.
Yeah.
And just another plus one on curation matters. Good curation matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't know if anyone's like you can see something that's very poorly curated and it just leaves like a really bad taste in your mouth. But like like properly curated stuff just flows like ridiculously smooth. Everything just fits together. Happens like so few and far between.
Yeah. Yeah, which is unfortunate, but you know,
Such
it's
as
part of the
life.
game. Yeah, such is life.
All right, last question. If you had any piece of advice to give to artists or creators of any kind of, to any extent, looking to break into the NFT, Web3, crypto art world, what would you say to them?
This is probably the question I'm most prepared for because I get asked it a
There
lot,
it
and
is.
I have an answer that hasn't changed really. My advice to people, if you're new to the space, spend 6 months really immersing yourself in something that interests you. It could be PFPs, it could be crypto art, it could be music, it could be even more of a niche. It could be like AI art or digital paintings or whatever, collage, what literally whatever excites you the most. Like go run towards that, like run towards your passion, immerse yourself in it, learn about it, research it, meet the people. Don't be weird. Make genuine relationships. Like create relationships that are based on something real more so than like shilling or, you know, coming across disingenuous. And like provide value to people in one way or the other. Like people will want to welcome you with open arms if like you're asking interesting questions or you're sharing interesting things or doing interesting things. And when you get to the point that you feel like you're really well versed enough in the thing that you care about, start doing shit. Like start sharing art or, you know, building things, making things, doing things, sharing it. Like just do it. Like you'll figure it out. If you told me in January, or I mean, my real entry to the space, I guess, was like October 2020, um, right? I think, yeah, October 2020. Like if you would have told me then, like where I'm at now, I wouldn't have believed it at all. And like if you would have told me when I'm, you know, minted letters, what that would have become, or you know, what For the TL would have been, you know, when like when we did the first show, or like that, I would even when I started buying pieces. Like I don't know, like it's just it's very unpredictable, and to be so close to so many people that I admire now, like, is just it's what keeps me going. Like it genuinely touches my soul, my heart. So like, you know, it's you don't know where you'll wind up when you follow your passions in this space. And I know it sounds kind of corny, but like it's very true, at least for me, and I think a lot of my friends. So I advise just like do it in a genuine way, and like you'll find genuine fulfillment or success or whatever it is that you're looking for. You know?
No, that's real. That's real. Like, honest to God, like, genuine people are, you find, they find their niche in the space one way or another.
Yeah,
And like,
yeah.
there's so much being built. There's so much going on. It's hard to be genuinely interested and not be involved in something to some extent.
For real, man. I mean, even like the Aku project that Micah Johnson is the founder and creator of, like Aku is on the cover of Time magazine this week. Like
That's crazy.
my mom knows who Beeple is. Like it's crazy, dude. Like I wouldn't have guessed any of this shit could have happened. Like it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. So
No, it
yeah.
really is crazy how far everything has come, and you know how much further we still have to go.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
opportunities everywhere. It's just a matter of how you approach it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, maybe in 3 years, hopefully, like for the TL, like we're all in a group picture on Time magazine. I don't know. I don't know what the goal is, but like
Now we'll manifest that right here. Right
whatever it is, like that thing will come, and you know, 2-3 years from now, like we're gonna look back on this conversation and be like, that's fucking crazy. That, you know, we were talking, you know, Max was pacing his room, just blabbering on for an hour, and what the fuck was I sounding like at the beginning? Minions? That's crazy.
Minions, yeah, you were on some Despicable Me energy.
Wait,
that was crazy.
Was it this one?
No, it was like really high pitched.
This one?
This one?
Closer.
This one?
Oh, there it is. Oh, I lost someone immediately after you switched.
Oh, God. I can't wait to listen back to this. This is going to sound really
Fuck. But anyway. Wait, is Joe doing it now?
Maybe.
Probably. That's such silly thought.
That sounds crazy. I'm dead.
Ribbits.
Oh man.
That's great. That's so great.
It really is. All right, man. Thank you so much for your time, and thanks for talking with us. It's been, you know, a pleasure as always. Proud to call you a friend. Very excited to see where everything goes for you. Wish nothing but success and blessings for you and yours.
Thank you, man. The feeling is so mutual. I'm honored to be a guest of the Burrito DAO. You guys are doing awesome stuff, and yeah, let's do more fun spaces when it feels right. I always love talking with homies.
Definitely. We got a couple of ideas. I know we've been pitching around, so maybe
we got some ideas for the
soon, and,
TL that are private in the notion, you know. We're waiting to let those out. Oh, yeah, do you?
Jesus.
Yeah, I do. Oh.
All right, so this is gonna devolve quicker if I let this run any further. So I'm gonna cut it right now. Thanks for everyone for showing up. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and support your homies.
Peace.
Buy peas from Max too while you're at it.
Oh shit! Please feed my children. I'm just kidding.
All right, take it easy, everyone.
Peace.